We have created this simple project. Let me describe you about this Android project structure. Android project structure, one of the most important folder in this uh, project structure is app folder. Inside that we have another folder named as src, and then we have a folder named as main, where there is a folder named as Java, where we have all the Java files under the package name described while creating the this project. So in this case, it is com.demo. My first application. And we have a Java file here named as main activity, which extends the activity component of Android, which we'll be discussing about in the next session. In the section, we will be discussing about only the project structure and the tools of Android which we use for Android app development. So as you can see, this drawable folder is used for storing all the images and other drawables which can be used for drawing on the screen. For example, the XML UI structures which can display on the screen can be stored inside this drawable folder. As well as we have another folder named as layout, where we store the XML files after creating the layout of the screen, which we want to display to the user. So in this case, we have a file name as activity underscore main.xml file, which is having this screen as it is visible to you in this view. Then all these MIP map folders is used for storing the images of different density pixels. So in this case, and there is one image for SDPI, there is one image for MDPI, there is one image for XSDPI, XXSDPI, and XXXSDPI. So other than this, we have another folder which is used as a resource folder of Android, where inside which we have four XML files, one for storing the resource of color type, one for storing the resource of dimension type, while other two is used for storing strings resource and styles resource. And all these resources can be can vary based on the dimension or the density of the Android device. So we have a dimension.xml for say 820 uh, dp as well, so which describes about the specific kind of device based on which the dimensions will be different. Dimensions will be having different value for the sources. For example, if we go inside, we have uh, dimension resource as activity underscore horizontal underscore margin with 64 dp value, while the same dimension is having the value 16 dp in normal case. So based on the device density, there is a different value for this particular dimension resource file. So other than this Java folder and resource folder, we have another important file which is which tells about the and this app, and its name as Android manifest.xml file. This inside this manifest, we have an application tag which says about the few of the attributes of which says about this application. For example, this icon is used as the icon of this particular app, and we have app name stored in the strings.xml in the string folder, which has been used here. So that is like strings.xml file is having a string resource named as app underscore name, which is the value of which is my first application, which has been used here as the name of the app. Similarly, we have a theme in styles.xml, uh, which is stored inside the styles.xml file, and it is named as app theme, which the parent theme of which is theme.appcombat.light.dark action bar. And we have the three attributes as the color of color primary dark, and color ascent in this particular theme. So all this style will be used for our Android app if when we describe theme as the style slash the app theme. Then we have another tag names which starts with activity and ends with this activity. Inside this, it tells about the activity which is named as main.activity, and activity, well, let me first tell you about what is an activity. An activity is the screen with which we as a user interact with Android app. So whenever, say, in case of a Gmail app, when we open a screen to see our all inbox messages, that is a separate activity. And then we have a separate activity for composing the mail. So that is, so there can be different screens, and all this screen is known as activity in Android. So there has to have a launcher activity. That launcher activity will be launched whenever the icon of the app is clicked. So in this case of this our my first application, we have the launcher activity as main activity, and this main activity, the launcher activity, is described using this intent filter, which says that it will do the action of main, and it belongs to the launcher category. So based on which, the whenever we click on the icon of this app, this main activity will be started. So let's see the demo of it, and by creating the Android virtual device. So let's see how to create a Android virtual device. To create an Android virtual device, we have Android Virtual Device Manager here, which will once we start this Android Virtual Device Manager, uh, we can create a Android virtual device. So in this case, we have a virtual device here, named as which reflects the attributes of Nexus 5, and it is having the SDK version as 22. Um, and its CPU architecture is 86. So let's start this AVD, Android virtual device, also named as Emulator. So here we have Android virtual device, which behaves almost exactly as a normal Android device will be. So let's run our app on this virtual device and see how it behaves. To run this app on this Android virtual device, we can use this icon. Uh, so once we click on this and see what happens. So we got an option to run this application on this emulator, and that is also as another name for Android virtual device. So when we click on OK, it will take some time to build and run on this run this application. So now we are trying to install this application, and this has been installed, and here we see our first application which displays hello world on the Android virtual device. So this was a brief introduction about Android tools and the project structure, where we learned how to create an Android emulator device and how to run a project, Android project, and the structure of Android project.